Well, obviously not the prettiest of games of all time, but I thought we were gritty and we were tough. And at the end of the day, that's what we hang our hat on. And, I mean, that's what Mark Calvi teams are, those of you that have seen South Al over the years. I mean, I texted Mark after they beat us here last year and told him that. I was like, man, it's just a tough group of kids, and they were a tough group of kids again tonight. I thought we did just a weird game, man. Those first few innings, it seemed like every barrel was an out for both teams. Like they were all over the barrel in those first couple innings, and they were outs. And then the squibbers and the shift beaters and the bloops are the hits of the day. It was just kind of a strange game there. I thought Colson Buchanan did a great job of kind of settling the game. Kind of settled it, let us kind of go to work a little bit. Doe puts a great swing on one. That changeup's like that Bugs Bunny changeup, and he got that over the plate and put a good swing on it. And then it was just one of those nights. It was kind of strange. I thought our mindset, I thought, was really good tonight. I thought our bodies looked tired tonight. I just thought our bat speed wasn't awesome. Some of that wasn't great, but at the end of the day, we competed our tails off, and credit that pitching staff for hanging some zeros. I didn't think that pitch by Oz was a terrible pitch that guy ran out there. I haven't seen it yet, but out of his hand, I thought it was a decent pitch. I put a great swing on it, and Austin Morris came in and was outstanding there in the 10th, and Kade doesn't flinch 3-0 and runs it out of the yard, and the rest is history. So kind of an interesting game, but obviously you love being on this side of it, and I thought our kids were tough again tonight.
Coach, can you tell us anything about the situation with JT Blackwood, if there is one being taken out of the game after the first inning?
Yeah, our plan was to stay short with him anyway, kind of like we did last week, maybe even a tick shorter than last week, just because obviously it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. But he came off the mound. He looked like he was white as a ghost. And I look over there and he's throwing up in the trash can over on the side. So I don't know what it was, but he competed for us. But the second you see a guy bent over the trash can, you just got to kind of make a move. He was probably only going to give us one more. His pitch count got up there a little bit in the first. So he was probably only going to give us one more if he went back out. But obviously when that happened, it kind of sped everything up a little bit. Got Finn in there one inning earlier. But should be fine. Just, like I said, I haven't talked to our trainer yet. I don't know if it's food related or what it was. But, he was thrown up over in the corner over by my bag. I was trying not to get puked on.
Had your fill of food poisoning.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Kade, you hit the home run on a 3-0 count. Were you looking for a pitch to punish there? Kind of when you walk me through your mindset.
I was looking for a green light, and he gave me one. And it was kind of funny because the AB before, I was looking for one too, and we had to get a guy on, so I probably wouldn't have gave the green light either. And I ended up getting on, but it didn't work out. But no, I was just put in a situation where I thought I could do damage, and the ball ended up catching a little too much of the plate 3-0, and I did damage.
Knowing that he has to throw a strike there, is that something that you're thinking about in the moment, or is it just the same thing that you kind of just explained?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is all hitters are looking for mistakes, and when you're that far ahead in the count, you're prone to get one. And I think this is my first time ever swinging 3-0. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. But, yeah, no, just looking for a mistake, and he gave it to me, whether it was 3-0 or whatever it may be, and then the rest is history.
You guys are on this streak where you're having these late inning, home runs to decide games. Well, how does that work? Is that just is this by happenstance, one of these things, or you think this is intentional, something you guys are doing?
We just stick in it. I mean, we just stay in the moment. We don't let the moment get too big, and it's really that's what I think the coolest thing about this team is anybody in that lineup can do it. It's not like we're having this guy come up, It's just our lineup. So anybody that steps into the box on our team, at least I think, is just dangerous, and anybody could do it on that team. And that's the crazy part, and that's the most beautiful thing I've loved about this team so far.
That's what I think it is. We talk about toughness all the time. I talked about this in College Station this weekend. I told the guys on Friday before the game, toughness is just not letting the moment get you out of anything. Obviously I wasn't thrilled about some things that were going on tonight at times, but, JJ says this to our pitchers all the time, what's it going to take to break you? That's what toughness. What is it going to take to break you? And is it going to be a bad call? Is it going to be I barreled up balls and it's an out? What is it going to take to break you? And that's what's been fun with this group is, we're not perfect. We weren't awesome tonight. We lost already once this year, but it's been a really tough group. When A&M tied those games up late, there was no panic in our dugout. You go back to Ohio State 3 or 4 weeks ago, we go down 10-0 in the fourth, and I've been a part of the teams when you're down 2-0, you feel like it's out of reach. You know, you feel like you're down 10. This group just kind of keeps plugging away, and I don't think they let the moment get big. I think they stay super present, and they're a tough group of kids, and I think it's what gives them the chance to do those things late, you know, in the big spots, is they're not trying to make it bigger than it is.
Coach used a lot of arms tonight, not a super heavy load on some of them, but is that anything you're worried about with just a 2-day turnaround before the next series instead of 3?
Yeah, and I think that's part of like getting Braylon out pretty quick. You know, Braylon obviously gave us 2 really elite innings in College Station on Sunday, and you know, he came in right there and did his job, was super efficient in his inning, get him out. You know, Oz, like a little bit more labor to his inning than maybe we would have liked, but we weren't going to let him kind of stay out because we're going to need him, you know, both of those guys probably on Thursday night, hopefully. So the beauty of this bullpen is there's just a lot of arms down there. You know, we were able to be pretty efficient. We got 3 really good starts this weekend, so we didn't have to go too deep in the pen this weekend, which meant you had a few more guys available to string together on a Tuesday. It's, you know, as coaches, when you play these 5-game weeks, it's petrifying because those are just hard. But thankfully, we're through those, and when you have one game, you can kind of send it with a few guys and play some matchups and get some guys in and out. Because, again, I think some of the strength of that pen is the number of guys that are super usable that we have down there.
Is tonight's game, I guess, just an extra cherry on top of the thanks you give Bobby for 7 innings on Sunday?
Man, that's what a cool thing, man. Like, what a cool thing for him, you know. And a lot of people, everybody knows Riley Quick's story. Very few people know Bobby's story, you know, and where he came from and the injury he came back from. And I've said this kind of publicly a few times, but like, you don't come back from the injury he had. Guys around baseball know, like, pitchers do not come back from what he had. Not only did he come back, but he's come back really good. He's come back and been a weekend starter. He had a career game this weekend, but the beauty is, like, we've kind of seen that coming. I talked to JJ when we were talking about rotations going into A&M, and you know, he didn't end up, I don't remember what happened. He started the game we lost against Presbyterian, but JJ says, I mean, you go back and watch the video, the stuff was good, and you go back and watch that game on Sunday, that wasn't a fluke. And I know everybody's really down on the Ags right now, and I'm telling you, like, just be careful, because those guys are a swing away from blowing this thing into a really weird place. That's a really talented roster, and Michael Early's a really, really good baseball coach. But you go back and look what Bob did, it wasn't a fluke. Like, he was executing really good pitches. He threw 2 different sliders, and I don't even know if they were on purpose, but he had a bigger one, he had a tighter one, he had the curveball, he threw the changeup, he moved the fastball. He was elite, and I think him doing that allows you to kind of lengthen some of these guys out on a Tuesday when you need them.
What was it?
Shoulder. So I don't even remember what happened. I remember when it went in there, we thought it might be a career ender for him, you know, and it was something in his shoulder. I don't know if it was labrum, rotator, was something in there, and I remember it was multiple things. Because I remember our trainer being like, it looked like a bomb went off in there at one point, and not only did he get back, and some guys, my college roommate came back from that and was 94, 95. When he got back, it was 87, 88, you know. And so now Bob is back to almost where he was. I mean, back at Gardner-Webb before the injury, I mean, he would tickle a 5, but it was a lot of like 92, 94, and that's what you saw in College Station this weekend. So not only did he come back from it, but he just keeps getting better. Each of his starts have just gotten progressively better with the stuff. And at this rate, it might be 100 in a couple weeks. That'd be great.
Kade, you put that big swing on it to end it tonight. You had a really good weekend this past weekend with the sweep and everything. I guess, where's the confidence level going into probably one of the biggest regular season series since this place was renovated coming up in a couple of days?
Just stay level. Whether it be, you know, obviously it's a big weekend this weekend against Tennessee, but play it like every other game, because that's, in the grand scheme of things, that's what it is. We don't need to get too high, we don't need to get too low in the moment, and if we just keep on, like I said before, just keep going out there, running our plans off, pitching and hitting, we'll be in a good spot.
So, of course, Tennessee lost tonight.
I hated to see it. You get those guys nice and Tony reinvigorated for the weekend. That's all we needed, right? I told the guys that after the game. I said, look, like, we don't need to be anybody but us. And there is no denying, us sitting here and acting like Tennessee is not elite would be foolish. Like, that is an elite ball club and a really dang good head coach and a really good staff. I mean, shoot, Sean McCann's like the brains behind that operation. The video guy's a superstar, like coached me in college. Ross Kivett, I coached in college, is there. Josh Elander is one of the best hitting coaches in the country, and Frank Anderson, I feel like he's been around forever and does nothing but turn out elite arms. Like, it's an elite program. It's the gold standard in recent history of college baseball coming to town. That's what it is, plain and simple. And we played great against them in our place last year, and it's just another opportunity for us. I told our guys for A&M, man, like, we ain't gonna win it. We ain't gonna lose it this weekend. It's just 3 more games. I want to see us. We can go 0-3 this weekend and play our game, and I'll be able to tip my hat to these kids. We can go 3-0 and play like crap, and I'll still tell them like, hey, that's not us. It's not about the result. It's can we go do what we're capable of doing, and I think we're going to have some pretty good crowds this weekend. I hope. These kids deserve this place to be packed out this weekend. They deserve it. And there's zero conflict on Friday. We can go watch Robert Morris at 11 or whatever and then come to the Joe afterwards and get rowdy. Like, there is no reason that we should not have a full stadium for these young men this weekend. And then within that, can we just be ourselves and go compete? Because who we are is good enough. And that's what I believe with these kids.
Couple more questions?
Kind of how big is that home crowd advantage, especially maybe in right field, student section, when you have a program like Tennessee coming to town?
I mean, just any game. Like, and the students have been awesome. They really have. Like, shoot, that Friday before spring break, they showed up, and I thought everybody'd be out of town. We had a great group of guys out there. It's just, yeah, like, you go to some of these places in our league, and I think that's the separator of the SEC and some of these other leagues. There's good baseball players everywhere, elite baseball players all over the country in every conference, big and small. Like, awesome baseball. What makes the SEC different is the crowds you play in front of. It's just, it adds an element that makes it really hard to win on the road just because of that. I mean, the Ags are scuffling a little bit right now, and that was still a bear, and those fans were into every pitch of every play and were packed out all weekend. And that's really the separator in this league is that. And so, like I said, it's one of those things where I remember the days playing at the University of Maryland when we first got there, and we had wives and girlfriends in the stands, and that was about it. And the one thing I know is people appreciate a winner. No matter where you're at, people appreciate a winner, and these kids have worked their tail off to put themselves in a good position, and I trust our people here. They're going to show up, and it's going to be a fun weekend for us here with the crowds and the environment that's going to get created.